The dream of being able to accurately cascade the strategy from the top of the organization down to the lowest level employee has been a pursuit of management for decades. And a lot has changed over the course of that time. So the cadence of business is faster, the amount of data we have is better, the computing power we have, of course, is order of magnitude. And so this is what the current solution looks like. What we should be able to do is effectively take the organization's overall mission and vision and capture what that looks like. And then take that down to cascade it into the 1 to 10 goals that we need to achieve this year in order to achieve that 5 or 10 year vision. Once we've identified what those 1 year goals are, we now need to break them up to what are these quarterly objectives to achieve it. Now, this is kind of a new thing where, in the good old days, we would plan on an annual basis. But with the cadence of business these days, obviously a year just doesn't work anymore. No one has good visibility of what's happening 12 months out. We're lucky that we understand what's happening 3 months out. In fact, the uncertainty that we now have 3 months out is what we used to have a year out. In other words, our old 1 year plan is now our 1 quarter plan. So we now need to take those annual goals and cascade them down to what do I need to do this quarter. From those, we need to do 2 things. One is measure, understand what's going to get more of or less of as we move towards those objectives so we can monitor our progress. And from those, we can figure out what are the activities we need to do. In other words, what we need to do is take that long-term view and boil it down to what we need to do this year and the next 5 years. And then get that and boil it down to what I need to do this quarter and the next 5 quarters, and take that down to what I need to do today and the next 5 days. So there may be several layers to this cascade, but ultimately we're taking this long-term view and making it shorter term. And in so doing, a bunch of things happen. One is we need to begin to get more specific about what department, what sub-department, what team, even what individual does it. We need to be clear about what is the specific target we need to get this week, this month, this quarter. And we need to understand almost the RACI model, like who's responsible, who's accountable, who's consulted, who's informed. And by the time we've built out this network of knowledge, we now have taken that corporate strategy and cascaded it down to the individual. And that's super important because in that way, everyone in the organization can prioritize their work towards what's going to give us the best strategic traction. So they're no longer chasing the quarter end sales number, they're now chasing the quarter end strategy. And that becomes super important because these days dollars don't do a good job of representing what we need to achieve as organizations. So if we want to achieve a higher level of safety, then we need metrics around safety that are looking at what we're doing this day, this week, this month, this quarter, not the dollars of safety claims. And that cascades through everything about making sure that the customer experience is correct, making sure that we have on-time deliveries and so forth. So this network of cascades allows us to understand who is accountable, but also I've drawn it here like an organization chart, but it's actually a web where each objective, someone has to own them, but there are numerous contributors that need to be working in an aligned fashion, and we need that visibility. I need that cross-functional alignment to make sure we're achieving these objectives. And that is what we're now doing in this current body of knowledge that's called OKRs, Objectives and Key Results. And it's been proven to work. So high-tech companies like Google and Facebook have been using this for decades, but it's now crossed the chasm. Blue chip organizations like Ford, Boeing, State Farm, all use it to make sure that their departments, teams, and individuals are aligned and all pull in the same direction, and enabling agility. Because the second I change the vision, the second I change an annual goal, it immediately ripples through the organization, and we can quickly move to those new goals, objectives, priorities, and targets.